This is AC Starlight, okay, Austin, and welcome to the YouTube. Welcome to the Supergirl vlog here on YouTube. Um, this vlog is gonna have me going to the farm, also me going to see my friend Melissa to see Supergirl, the movie with Millie uh Eincox, and the one that's based off of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. You're also going to see maybe a couple of comic book reviews of Superman, Father of Tomorrow. Ironic, right? Supergirl Survival, which I think they're making a part two to this. I'm not sure. Um, and then we're going to talk about this Supergirl right here that I have as the intro for it was on CBS and then it went to CW and made a Ray, and I want to talk about that. We're going to talk about My Adventures of Superman, Supergirl. We're also going to be talking about the original animated series, Supergirl, and then throw in here for a special thing. It's going to have its own separate review, but also it might have like a little like how it's going so far, what I think so far in this vlog of the original Supergirl movie. And this is basically all Supergirl. It's gonna be Supergirl theme, and then I'll tell you why I'm at the farm. Well, why this is perfect for the farm. It has more involved with her cousin, but she's also was invited. She was also invited to the farm, Clark the Kent's farm. So I'll explain that. Next, the Superman father tomorrow is just something to throw in there because without the father of Superman, you wouldn't have the father of Supergirl, and you want to have them as cousins. So it all leads into one thing. But the stuff I'm going to show everyone's also going to have me coming going may have me going to work, coming back home from work, um, going like I said, going up to the farm. That's where we're going to start off with this, and then me going some stuff during the week. Next week, like also Jackass might be in here, like a little me going to the movie theater to see Jackass theater reaction in here. So this one's gonna be like a movie kind of vlog. It's not gonna be a short vlog. It's not gonna be it's not gonna be it's not gonna be very short. It's gonna be very long. What else? Oh yeah, it's gonna also have me talking a little bit about Woman of Tomorrow, the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. That's what this is based off of. Um, so it's gonna have some stuff from the farm, doing hanging out with Melissa in here, me traveling to Melissa's putting the vlog. And also her name is Millie as well. Ironic, right? And it's gonna have a talk about this TV show, the original animated one, the new animated one, which I do want to talk about. I haven't really talked about that, and they have the second season, so I will watch that. But I know some things about her origin story it's a little bit different from My Adventures to Superman, whereas in the original one, and then from what I remember from the original one, and mainly this one because this one had Melissa Benoist in it. Saying that person's name a lot, but her name is actually Melissa Benoist, and she's playing Cora, and all these versions of Supergirl are Cora. The comic versions, like Survival, might be a little bit different from the comic version of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which this whole movie's based off of, which DC's doing. Um, but it's going to be a fun vlog. It's gonna be a fun Supergirl vlog. Um, this might be out before even the movie comes out for next week because if I edit it quickly enough, I mean, well, of course I had to do a theater reaction for that movie, but when I'm with her, I probably won't add that video until later. Um, so this vlog might be out. The review for Supergirl, the movie with Tom, movie with James Gunn, that Tom James Gunn, and that the reaction review will probably be a little bit late, or when I can do the vlog, because I mean I will come back on Sunday, but it depends on if I want to, if I'm traveling back home, do the vlogs then. Do the video then. But that's all in due time. This is the intro, and this just should be happy. The intro to the Supergirl vlog is going to be awesome. I mean, it already is awesome. This is going to be an awesome movie. I love Superman, what James Gunn did with Superman. I can only see his praises on what he's doing for Supergirl, and he's done a good job so far with Supergirl. The promotion, everything like that. They have KFC on board. They have popcorn buckets. I already seen KFC. Mentioned KFC. Limited drink. Popcorn bucket. Not a chicken bucket. I want to say popcorn bucket, but chicken bucket with crypto in it. Already did. They're again doing the was it Milk-Bone promotion, what they did with Superman and now Supergirl. A lot of different things are with this t-shirts, pop figures, um, the comic book itself. But yeah, this is the vlog for Supergirl, the movie. Hope you enjoy it. Um, and we'll be talking about this person, but you probably won't see this background uh, ever again. Not saying you won't, but I'm gonna use a different one for Supergirl from AKA CW slash channel 11. Um, and this one I'll talk about how I went from channel 11 to CW and how she interacted with the characters more in the CW because of one character that we all know and love is the Flash. We're going to talk about Superman and the Flash in here. So, because Supergirl has interacted with all the heroes, but and even talk about Martian Manhunter because her story has Martian Manhunter and her adopted family, Alex, and her family, and then Brainiac, which was not evil in this version of her version. And what else? A Girl Called Dreamer, which she has her own comic, but I mean, but anyways, and this is the intro to the Supergirl movie vlog. See you guys maybe in a few minutes with another video if I can get this video done. And I had not gonna tell, but here I go. This is for now. This is AC Star-Lord, aka Austin, and this is a review of Superman, Father of Tomorrow. This is the logo for Superman, Father of Tomorrow, and the Father of Tomorrow is Jor-El, Superman's father, and he leaves Krypton like Superman does. Um, Clark Kent, aka Superman, he leaves Krypton and from after being destroyed, instead of being Superman, sending his baby boy, instead of being that storyline, you get that he left as a full-grown man wearing the white and silver, like kind of a white and silver suit, black, and he lands on the Clark Kent's. He lands on Jonathan Kent and Martha Kent's farm, and he learns from the Kents how to be, well, like how Superman was essentially when he was born, how to be human, but also how to be the man that he needs to be. And they teach him how to be that, even though he's already a father of Superman. And that's a different thing. And then not Clark, I mean Jonathan, I'm sorry, I keep saying Clark, but Jonathan at one point teaches him how to like let go of some memories, but that all he sees is Krypton, and he has a heart attack, and he was trying to save him with his technology, his Krypton technology, or Krypton technology, and it was already too late. His heart gave out, and then towards the end of the comic, Martha says it's about damn time that you show yourself, real self, and he saves the world from, of course, from Lois, from General Lane and Lois Lane, from this evil scientist that want to take over. He meets Perry White, and he basically towards the end of the comic, he tells people, "I'm going to change the world for better," but also meeting a friend. But he learns how to be human basically, because we don't get to see a story with Jor-El. Jor-El is already dead on Krypton. The original story is he's already dead on Krypton. He's already sent his son, as we know, Superman, aka Clark Kent, aka I don't know his Krypton. I mean, I know his Krypton name, but I forget his Krypton name. But they send him off like in the old movies. The very first movie that that I did a review on, which I'm still going to do a review on the other ones. They send him off. Same thing with the same thing with James Gunn. He's already on. Clark Kent is already on Earth, so like you don't really see the parents until he opens up a whole file of, his parents. But every story you see Superman being sent off to Earth. You have every Elseworld story. This is an Elseworld story, so it's a little bit different. It's a different universe and a different version of Superman, which is Jor-El being Superman, essentially. Doesn't call himself that yet, but the comics call Superman Father of Tomorrow. So, but we don't see him surviving, and his wife doesn't. I don't know if his wife didn't survive it, so we don't see him surviving, and his son's not there. So he's the man. He's the Superman that they're looking for. And it's kind of cool and it's kind of amazing that we get a comic book about Jor-El on Elseworld Story, being on Earth, learning from the Kents, and, you know, not seeing Superman, or aka Clark Kent, being who he is, being a man, and also being a Boy Scout, and he's learning how to be the Boy Scout. And of course, without Superman's father, Clark Kent's father, or Jor-El, we wouldn't have Supergirl. We wouldn't have the cousin of Superman without Superman, right? Because his cousin has to come from somewhere. It has to go um, either has to come from his brother or his wife's family or whatnot. The cousin has to come from one side of the family, either his future wife. I mean, in this comic, he doesn't have a wife, but phonetically saying in this comic book from Elseworld, his future wife's family, or he already has a brother or whatever, and it come from Jor-El's brother that he has a daughter that's his cousin, and you get my point. So it's kind of an interesting point of view of how these things happen in this comic book. But I think it's kind of cool that we get a story about his father not being dead on Krypton, because he's already dead on Krypton. It's just interesting that way. They let their only son, the original story, they let their only son go to Earth. And then like I mentioned in the intro to this is gonna be a separate video for YouTube, but also gonna be in this vlog that soon's gonna be on YouTube. As I said in the intro to this vlog, that Cora, aka Supergirl, and the Channel 11, aka CW version, they are going to tell you, she's going to tell you, or they're going to tell you, but she's also going to tell you that, oh, you heard about my cousin Clark? Well, I was here first. So then in that TV show, she said she was on Earth first before he was. So that makes an interesting concept for that TV show. But we all know that if you follow Superman, he was the first one on the planet Earth because his parents sent him down there. But this time on this Elseworld story, we see Jor-El being on the planet first before anyone else, before his cousin, before before Clark, before cousin, before anyone else that on Krypton for so far that we learned. So this is a great comic book. I can't wait to read the second issue. I don't know if the second issue is out, but I'll find out. But it's a fun issue. So if you like this video, put a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It's gonna be on YouTube, and then it's also gonna be in the vlog. So if you wanna wait then or watch this now, yeah, deuces.
Early in the morning, but it's the day we go to the farm, and it's gonna be a fun day. Of course, after work again, but it's gonna be a fun day nonetheless. And the Spider-Man trailer I saw last night, it was great. I mean, during the day it was great, but people saying the Hulk is Savage Hulk. It's not the Savage Hulk. That's just the regular Hulk that Bruce Banner hasn't let out in a while. The internet, oh, the Savage Hulk. Okay. Um, Savage Hulk happens later on in comics. It's a modern day comic, and then it turns to Maestro. Um, this was still in the same time frame as like the last few movies of MCU. So, and the last time we saw him as the Hulk was probably She-Hulk. So like, and Professor Hulk. So I wouldn't think he went to go too savage. I'm just saying. But anyways, it's been a fun time at the farm. Hopefully, we get to that point. But I know what it'll be.
This is AC Star Alert, aka Awesome. Welcome back to the Supergirl vlog, and this part of the vlog is about Supergirl from the CW, originally from Channel 11, CBS. It started on Channel 11, and it was doing really well on CBS. And this costume is her later costume. This is not the same costume you're not going to see in the movie, but CBS, when she was on CBS, we went through the origin story of how she was also Clark's cousin, and she was here on Earth before her cousin and everything else. And she has a sister named Alex. Alex's parents adopted Cora, and she's learning how to be a human being just like Superman was, and learning how our customs are, and struggling with her powers as a young woman. And then the way she got into the CW, because after that, after CBS wasn't going to have her anymore. They did a crossover with The Flash. They did a crossover with The Flash, with Grant Gustin's Flash, and then The Flash went to Supergirl's world because he traveled through the a different world, and then Supergirl's world. Then Supergirl became part of the Arrowverse, and when she was part of the Arrowverse, it was still the same Supergirl. It was just went to different seasons, and this is one of her later seasons. But she was had her difficulties trying to date people, difficulties trying to be a human being, but also saving the world at the same time. And um, she falls in love with a guy from her home planet, Mon-El. He's kind of like Superman, but different. And then they have a relationship for a while, and their Brainiac is involved in this. And there's also superhero now Dreamer later on. That's where she gets this costume in this season right here. Alex also joins the team, helps them find the team. We learn the origins of Martian Manhunter, which is also helps her, also helps Supergirl too, and she's part of a organization in there, from what I remember. and Dreamer is part of that team. Alex is, Megan is part of that, and they went through different Supergirl comics and issue. They also did some different Supergirl comics and issues and stuff like that as well. But basically, the premise of the show was basically giving you an origin story of Supergirl and who Supergirl is and who Cora is. Cora is just the all-American. I mean, well, from when we meet her as all-American girl, but also she's from Krypton and she's been on the planet before Clark has. That's what they tell you in the CW show, and you see her adventures, and that's pretty much what I described. You see her adventures, and basically every Supergirl you're going to see in this video is they're all going to be blonde. I don't know how Clark is has brown hair. I mean, has black hair, and she's blonde, but you know. But also, Father of Tomorrow's on this vlog too, so it's a little bit different. If you didn't have the father of Clark Kent slash Superman, you wouldn't have Cora. You wouldn't have Cora and have her be her cousin because they're related somehow. I mean, their brother or sister or someone in the family is, either Superman's father's brother or sister and had, Cora. But this was a good show. I loved it on CW. I remember watching the last episode and she put down her glasses because she didn't need them anymore. She wasn't trying to hide from the world. She also did the same thing with Clark, where she was wearing glasses. Like Clark wore glasses. Um, she was also wearing glasses. So it's a kind of an interesting concept. Um, and Melissa Mornoise would put it very good. Supergirl, very good Cora. Um, she played her very well. She played Supergirl very well. She fits the role. She fit the role of Supergirl. She also fit the role of Cora. Cora discovering all that stuff. And then when she did crossovers with the rest of the Arrowverse, like Green Arrow, The Flash, Martian Manhunter was part of that. Legends of Tomorrow, Batwoman, which was Ruby Rose at one point. And then now it's the Black Girl that's on the High Intelligence show currently now. Melissa Benoist was on a Netflix show. Currently, I still need to watch that, but she was fantastic as Supergirl, and I was sad to see that show go. But I'm also happy to see that they're doing a movie version of Supergirl, and she lives on. Um, and then Supergirl lives on again in an animated TV show called My Adventures with Superman, which I still need to watch the third season of it. But I'll talk about that in here too, and I'm talking about the animated one version as well. Right now, I'm going to talk about the live action version of this. The first live action version I've heard saw because there's a movie, early movie before this movie, and hey, Melissa Benoist put a very good character. And some of the episodes were directed by Kevin Smith as well. I like that. And it was a fun show. This was a fun, good, wholesome show. It came on every week. I don't remember what days it was. Tuesdays apparently at 8. And then following up after I think The Flash did, I think. After that. So it was great. And then when they had crossovers like Infinite Earths and all the stuff like that, you see storylines affecting her show with the core. So when they did crossovers, the crossovers affected the show before the episode before the crossover affected the crossover basically, and then after that. So that's pretty much it about the show. That's all I gotta say. And they did a very good job with the crossover because the episode before that one affect the crossover, and then after the crossover affect what happens after the crossover. They did a very good job with all the shows, especially Supergirl. Supergirl um, was a very good um, way of after that. After they had the crossover episode, the episodes actually, after they did the crossover episode, the episodes actually affected of and how that affects the storyline of Supergirl. Other than that, then they finished once they finished that episode after the crossover, so we get a fresh episode. And then, yeah, that's how it goes. And then the season finale is great. Like I said, she came over to the world, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much Supergirl in the CW. The CW did a pretty good job. That's all I gotta say. So,
Early morning, but it's the day we go to the farm, and it's gonna be a fun day. Of course, after work again, but it's gonna be a fun day nonetheless. And the Spider-Man trailer I saw last night, it was great. I mean, during the day it was great, but people saying the Hulk is Savage Hulk. It's not the Savage Hulk. That's just the regular Hulk that Bruce Banner hasn't let out in a while. The internet, oh, the Savage Hulk. Okay. Um, Savage Hulk happens later on in comics. It's a modern day comic, and then it turns into Maestro. Um, this was still in the same time frame as like the last few movies of MCU. So, and the last time we saw him as the Hulk was probably She-Hulk. So like, and Professor Hulk. So I wouldn't think he would go too savage. I'm just saying. But anyways, it's been a fun time at the farm. Hopefully, we get to that point. But I know what it'll be. Hamilton thing I'm gonna do, like, fun words, but the second one I'm gonna do this one. It's like, it's just talk about it when we get there. I can't believe the superstar, rapper, history maker, man that made our history seem fun. Hamilton finally got a Blu-ray release. A Blu-ray release, dog. And I saw this in theaters and saw it on Disney Plus so many times. Finally got a Blu-ray release. This is amazing. I can't wait to watch this on Blu-ray or have it in my collection at least. It's just awesome. It's the same Broadway one from 2016. I'll talk more about this later on in another video. But this is just awesome. Like Hamilton, if it wasn't for a therapist showing me Hamilton, having me challenge myself to listen to this album, I wouldn't be watching this so many times around 4th of July. That's all I gotta say. Hamilton, the all-star history maker that made our history different and changed it, and rapper, the greatest rapper ever to live. His rhymes are just the greatest. Again, the town's talking about. There ain't a pickup line for one of a kind, worth a shot, worth a try. So baby, won't you hear me out? You picture perfect, you don't need no fame. You'll be hanging on my mind for don't know how many days. Kind eyes with the come and smile, the kind I ain't seen around here in a while. Usually don't. How about the famous Bussies in Madisonville? Bussies. Not Bucky's, Bussies. Awesome. Welcome back to my channel. This is part of the Supergirl vlog, and Superman and Supergirl have been on Clark on the Kent's farm, and being on this farm, as you can see, there's the house right there. The Kent's farm is a pivotal point of the super family's life because Superman starts there first, and then you have Cora that starts in the city, but also Cora got back got, got brought to the Kent's farm by Clark Kent and introduced to Martha Kent and Jonathan Kent that this is my cousin, and she stayed on the farm as well, here and there. But being on the farm reminds me of the Kent farm, and without the Kent farm, you wouldn't have Superman, you wouldn't have Supergirl, you wouldn't have any of this stuff, right? Essentially, we all know about Superman. That's the reason why I brought up, I'm mainly bringing up Superman, but Supergirl is different on her own. She has her own life on she has her own life and she lives in the city, but she's been to the farm. She's been to the Kent's farm here and there, and shows in the animated series, which I will talk about eventually in this vlog. But yes, the farm essentially an important piece of Supergirl and Superman. That's all I gotta say about that, essentially.
So this is AC Stoller, aka Austin. Welcome back to my channel, and this is going to be talking about animated Supergirl from the Superman animated series. And I gotta admit, when I was a kid, I had a crush on this version of Supergirl because she was popping the scene in that show, but the way she looked was just different from Superman, and of course, she was kind of hot. So, saying that, she grew into the character she was going to be in the animated series, and there's a whole bunch of different ones and animated ones. I'm only going to be talking about two on here. Because there's apparently one in Young Justice, which I still need to watch Young Justice, by the way. And then there's one for Batman and Superman Apocalypse, and Justice Unlimited, which is actually the same version of this one, except she's a little bit older and she dons the blue outfit. Um, there's one for like Harley Quinn, the adult TV show, and they're essentially all the same versions of Supergirl. They all look different. They're all different animated versions, but this one was more into my childhood. That's why I picked this one because this one's more relevant into my childhood, and this is the first time ever met Cora or Supergirl herself. Because the simple fact of the matter is that she popped up on the show as Superman's cousin, and that's when we first learned as Superman's cousin, as her being Superman's cousin, like I said. And Supergirl for CW, she said she was the first one on the planet. Well, we see a different version of this in the animated series where she pops out of nowhere, and then she also goes part of the. She's been part of the Kent's farm and where Clark lives and everything like that, and they accepted her as Clark's cousin and all that stuff. It's a very interesting contrast of her being a part of Superman's life in the animated series. Now, she is only a animated series character in this TV show now, and Justice League Unlimited, the TV show series, she has a bigger role, but also again, like I said, when she's in Young Justice, probably has a bigger role in that too. Um, and other stuff that she's been in of animated shows and movies and other places that she can be in. For the reason for her being there is also to be there to be a savior of the world and planet and all that stuff, just like Superman is. So that's pretty much all I can say about this one. This one was like iconic though. Everyone knows about the Supergirl. The white t-shirt, the small little cape, the mid, has a mid white t-shirt, and then she has a little skirt, and then later on it then developed to different more clothing, more like Superman's suit. But you get my point. So yeah, that's all I gotta say about this one. I mean, she's Supergirl. The one you're going to see on the big screen, the one you're not, the one you're going to see on the big screen, one that you always thought you were going to see, kind of thing. It's all essentially the same kind of Supergirl, but there's different versions of them, and this is one of the versions. So, that's all I'm going to say about this version of the animated one. I got more to say about the other one. It might correlate with the Young Justice one, but hey, I'll get to that one later. So, into this part of the vlog so far. This is AC Starler, aka Awesome. Welcome back to my video or this vlog video. And we're going to be talking this segment of the vlog. We're going to be talking about Supergirl from the Flash movie. Now, the Supergirl from the Flash movie, essentially a caveat, a substitute, a driven point from the Flashpoint comics through a different point from a different point of view of the writers and creators of the movie, even the animated movie and the comic book itself. This version of Supergirl obviously looks like the Henry Cavill version of Supergirl with the logo, obviously, without the gold on it, but the same logo as you can see there. This one was supposed to be in place of Henry Cavill because Henry Cavill got let go or some sort of thing like that back then in the DCEU. Now we're in the DCU with the all new Supergirl with Millie Hancock and Jason Momoa back into DCU. And he also was also in the EU, but playing Lobo. But my point in this is that this Supergirl looks exactly like an actual cousin of Superman, Henry Cavill, with black hair instead of blonde hair. The Superman currently we have has black hair, and the Supergirl has blonde hair. You can be related, have the same hair, but my point I'm taking is that in the original Flashpoint storyline, this character would not be in the original Flashpoint storyline because it's Superman. Superman they lock Superman up, and they lock Superman up, and he loses all his powers. If his powers are not driven from the sun, he loses all his powers. He becomes skinny and frail, and that's what they show in the comic and in the animated cartoon and movie. And then he gets released by Batman and Flash, and they end up he ends up fighting the people that call him captives. Same thing here. They just use Supergirl. They just use Supergirl in the same concept of her being locked up in this prison, and she has weakened powers, and the Flash and the other Flash in this movie team up with Michael Keaton, and that's their Batman. And then they find this Supergirl, um, and they found a super, but it's Supergirl, not Superman. And then she shows up in the final battle with them, and that's pretty much what it is. Like stuff that they take that the DCEU took from the comics and put it in the movies. The same thing with The Dark Knight. I mean, with Batman v Superman, they had Ben Affleck dressed up in that metal Batman suit face off with Superman. That happens in the comics. That's straight ripped from the page, but they do it a little bit differently. Same thing. This is ripped straight from the page of the comics of the graphic novel, and actually the scene in the animated movie. But they use Supergirl because Henry Cavill was technically let go or fired or whatever, and then you had The Rock try and bring him back with Shazam and all that stuff like that. That's pretty much what it was. They're using Supergirl here. That's the same logo as Henry Cavill to be their Superman in their movie, but they use Supergirl instead. But this is actually a pretty cool looking costume of Supergirl. I do love the logo on her, and this is pretty much a good version of Supergirl, except too bad this actress only got to play Supergirl only one time. Now when we get a Supergirl movie, you would think, hey, they use the same girl as Supergirl. All she has to do is probably make her hair blonde because it's not the DCEU, it's the DCU now. And no, they used a different girl, which is makes sense. But I would still love to see this one somehow and somewhere. I mean, there's a multiverse of different Supermans and there's a multiverse of different Supergirls. There's a whole bunch of different Supergirls. So this can be one of them. But I would love to still see this actress play her Supergirl at some point down the road in the DCU if James Gunn allows it. But if not, that's fine too. But again, this one is the second live action Supergirl I've seen since Melissa Benoist. Um, and then there's an old one which I still need to watch, which I might watch somewhere this week. But also, I'll explain that in the next video. I was going to see the new Supergirl, but I'm going to wait on it to see with my best friend, and I have to see it with my best friend. So, and that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. It's way what I want. It's what I want to do. It's a way I show that I'm going to wait because if I do see it ahead of time and she knows me very well, I will say, hey, this scene's awesome, this scene's cool. Oh, this person dies in this scene, or oh yeah, this scene exactly ripped from the comics, but pretty much what they showed you from the Millie Aycock's movie is most of the stuff from the trailers is cut from the actual graphic novel that I read of Woman of Tomorrow. So most of that is kind of like a spoiler. So really, nothing really much spoils for me. But I still believe this Supergirl is amazing. She should have her own movie as well. Um, Maybe if James Gunn can dip back into the DCEU and do it like an Elseworld story, have this Elseworld story told of this Supergirl with the same logo, with everything, that would be great. Me saying that because I think she needs a movie. But anyways, that's all I'm saying. So her and Melissa Benoist are the current recent live action ones I've seen. The original one I still need to watch, and then that'll be the third recent one. Then the Millie L. Cox one would be the fourth. And I'll talk about the current animated one because, the last one I talked was the animated one, and I'll talk about the comic book version of Woman of Tomorrow. So, deuces for now. So, as you can see, this is the Superman symbol, the old Superman symbol, one of the old Superman symbols mixed in with the Jackass logo, fade in. Um, so this is what's happening this week. And according to this blog, you're going to see a little bit of Jackass because, well, the original plan for me was to see Jackass this Thursday, which still is the original plan, and then I was going to go to Cyprus, Texas, to see my friend and go see Supergirl in her area. Well, those plans have changed. I'm not going to tell you those plans, but those plans have changed. We're eventually going to see it on 4th of July somehow, somewhere. Now I'm only seeing Jackass, but since this falls on the same week as it comes out on the 20th, on the 26th, I'm seeing it on Thursday because it's they call it the Jackass Best and Last opening night. I'm seeing it at 7 o'clock. Normally would go to Bible study, but I'm going to see it at 7 o'clock because I don't want to be up all night seeing people, grown men and some women and middle-aged men hit each other or breaking bones late at night. I'd rather see it freshly at 7 o'clock. So, people on a show I watch called people on a show I call the people on a show that's called John Campia. One commenter said on the comments called it super ass because of Supergirl and Jackass being out, and that's the reason why I did this. And I can't wait to see both movies. I also want to see Toy Story 5. I could have put Toy Story 5 posted behind here, but these are two. I mean, Toy Story is still on my top list, but these two movies drawn out to me first before Toy Story. But Toy Story is still big. It's still drawn out to me. The conversation in that, the technology versus toys, is just seems very awesome and very cool to have that in a concept. But grown men getting hurt with a new young cast members and some female cast members getting hurt and doing stupid stuff and making me laugh. Probably I don't want to say more better, but probably more, they're probably gonna get more belly laughs out of me than Scary Movie 6. Because who didn't grow up with Jackass and who doesn't like Jackass? Hey, who doesn't like, hey, I'm Johnny Knoxville, welcome to Jackass. Or I'm Steve-O and this is blah 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 blah. I'm Pontius and this is da 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 da. I'm Bear Margera and this is da 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 da. And I am Wee Man, and this is da 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 da. I am whoever it is. Like Jackass Forever, they had a whole bunch of people in it, and they even have MGK in it. So why not have that? And then also the next week I get to see Supergirl, and I get to see catch up with, and I get to catch up with the old Supergirl before I see the new one. And why not? I mean, I still, watching. I'm still watching the Supergirl movie. It's an old one, but it's still in Supergirl week. It's still in Supergirl week and Jackass week, and it's still in Super Ass. Um, so like, I'm not seeing the Supergirl movie, but I do want. I'm still going to see the new one. It's not like I'm not seeing it. I'm just seeing the old one. But for now, I'm seeing Jackass. Jackass is just completely awesome. Just gotta say, it is, and it's cool, and it's great. The logo is fantastic. I mean, they're about to make a podcast here soon. Millie Eckhart, I know there's been a lot of different podcasts promoting her movie. Um, Jackass has been on Hot Ones, and they were doing chicken pong or like beer pong, but with chicken wings in it. So I saw that they're doing promotion on that. I'm pretty sure I'll see some other promotional videos, but yeah, it's gonna be cool. I'm gonna see Jackass and then see Supergirl after that, after this week. And I'm also gonna see Toy Story, so it's gonna be great. I can't wait. Um, can't wait. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be fantastic. I can't wait for some grown men to finally finish their chapter of life, hitting each other in the nuts or breaking bones or whatever. But I still don't think this is the last one. I mean, they can have Johnny Knoxville host and then have the young cast take over, which I think that that's what they should do is still have this running on, but with the young cast. So, and hopefully one day I can grab all three movies and even the point O's on Blu-ray one day instead of just having the best and last and forever. I saw Bad Grandpa over at the other ones at the half price book, so I need to do that too. So this is it for now.
So, if you remember this hat, the sailor hat from the first season of the show and the first movie, I am seeing Jackass today for the first night showing, and it comes out tomorrow with Supergirl. Normally would see Supergirl, right? But I'm waiting on a friend to see that. And opening weekend might be crazy for that. For this, it might not be that crazy. And this is Johnny Knoxville's signature look. So, sailor hat, signature look. I might wear this to the premiere or I might not. It depends. I might bring two hats with me. So, yeah. Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and welcome to AMC Theaters, where my movie's being played at AMC Theaters. Best and last. Let's have some fun. Welcome to Jackass. I just finished watching this movie right here, Jackass, Best and Last, and this movie was amazing. It got me emotional towards the end. And the other straight theater reaction, I was wearing the sailor hat by having in my car. But the sailor hat I have is dedicated to this man right here in the green, Johnny Knoxville, the leader of this gang. Now, the emotional part for me is that you're never ever going to see these people ever again do another movie like this, and not in this form. Um, it's just amazing because the reason why it made me cry because I remember watching the show with my brother, my friends, even Juan, my friend Juan, and other friends in the neighborhood, and we all did stupid stuff. They tell you not to do the stunts, but we all did stupid stuff when we were kids. But also, my friend Juan and Christian made their own version called OAS, and they recreated this. It's very great that they recreated this. It's fun and funny. Um, but the simple fact that we're not going to see these guys doing these things. So the fact that we're not going to see these guys doing those things where they hurt each other and they do stupid stuff like getting tased or the razor blade over their heads or doing wild, stupid stuff. Putting tasers on things that shouldn't be on there, hitting each other, doing these things that we all thought were funny and gross and hilarious, like hitting each other in the balls or going down the stairs with a laundry basket or do something funny, something weird and funny like that and injuring ourselves. They do that for a living and we're not going to see that. And that was emotional. And it was emotional because it's also a decade of me watching it with my brother, my friends, and Juan and all that stuff like that, and I don't get to see. We don't get to see that anymore. We don't get to see this anymore. We don't get to see wild people, wild guys like this do funny, weird, jackass things because they are jackasses doing jackass things. So we don't get to see that. But I'll do a full-length review of. This is part of the Supergirl vlog. Now, the Supergirl that's behind me, there's two versions. I like the Millie Cox version behind me as well with the crypto, but the one right there, that's from my Adventures of Superman, and she is sort of like Millie Cox version, but a little bit different. She has wonder and mystical ideas about the world and what's going on in her world and Superman's world. On top of that, she was brainwashed by Brainiac and My Adventures of Superman, and she called Brainiac her father. And in the second season of first episode, she still does. And then she's learning the world of our world from Clark, and that's why she's wearing that suit. And she also loves Jimmy Olsen. So interesting that she loves Jimmy Olsen because the old movie I'm watching, Lois's sister is in love with Jimmy Olsen, and then also on the simple fact of the matter is that Jimmy Olsen is mentioned in that movie, but not the first movie, I don't think, of Superman. But either way, doesn't really matter. My Adventures of Supergirl is pretty unique and different in her own way, and I find her funny. I find her unique. I find her experiencing the world for the very first time because that's what she's been brainwashed with Brainiac. The fact of the matter of that is that Brainiac brainwashed her to understand that Kryptonians are bad, and then she makes Clark and Kryptonians are good, so on and so forth. But she has a childlike wonder, and she likes anime and stuff like that. And when she gets with Jimmy, she believes in aliens and all stuff like Jimmy does, and Jimmy's really weird, and their connection of them being friends, trying to get into a relationship is kind of interesting. honestly, while I'm watching it, it kind of reminded me of me and my ex just a little bit, but not too much. Just the stuff, the commonality of common stuff that we had in common. But this Supergirl is this Cora from My Adventures Superman is actually part two. As I was really interrupted with Snapchat, um, she's just trying to figure out this world, and her costume is kind of cool with the scarf, cape, skirt thing, and Millie Alcox is awesome. One is from the comic book version, which I also will talk about in this vlog as well. This version of Supergirl, like I said, or Cora, is like childlike wonder with the fact that her liking of Jimmy Olsen, Jimmy Olsen's kind of weird in this, and meaning when I said and towards the end reminds me of me and another person I was dating was also a friend. She was kind of weird, kind of interesting, but this Supergirl takes it to the next level, where I'm like, dang, okay, I can see why Jimmy Olsen likes her. So, and she's also very like really animated. So when I mean she's in anime, she really gets animated. So it's kind of like interesting. But Supergirl is very interesting, unique, and different from the one from the Flash, one from the CW with Melissa Benoist. Apparently there was also one from Smallville, which I didn't realize. But this one is one of my top favorite ones, and then also different from the other animated one, which the original animated one was pretty good and pretty awesome, pretty solid. Like I said, I had a crush on her when I was younger, when she came to the scene. But this one is different and weird and unique. The other animated one was very straight to the point. Supergirl's cousin, still Supergirl's cousin in this one as well. Supergirl's cousin, he went straight to the point of where she's at in life, kinda. So. I watched this version of Supergirl last night. I'm not finished with it yet, but I watched the first half. And let me tell you, the stuff that people are talking about Millie Alcock's version, how the pacing and everything like that, and some negativity, and some people said it's good, some people said it's not, and they want to blame someone like James Gunn. Don't blame James Gunn, don't blame Millie Alcock. This version right here, the first few minutes, you see Supergirl, Kara Zor-El, on their home planet, where they probably mentioned in the new Supergirl movie, meet up with a character named Zorg, the professor or whatever, and designer of their planet, has an orb. He was messing with the orb, and he's not supposed to have it. And then he was making a tree, and she asked, "What's a tree?" And it's something on Earth, and I can't wait to go. And then, from there, he gives the orb to Cora, and then gives the little wand thing he was making the tree to Cora, and then the orb ends up going to space. She goes into space. Her parents blame the professor, and then she's in the spaceship orb thing that she goes to Earth to go find it. She's in a spaceship orb thing that the orb is going in space, go find it. And then we meet a character named Selena. There's only one Selena in the DC universe, and that I know is in Batman, but whatever. And she's supposed to be the Lex Luthor of that universe, right? And then talking to a male mate, dude that helps her. And then once she gets the orb, she's like, "Oh, I have all the answers of the Earth, all the answers to the universe and Earth and everything like that. I don't need you." Drives off. Then you see Supergirl come from out of her ship, lands in the water, comes out of the water. She was wearing something else in the very beginning, something else, and then she comes out with a Supergirl suit, the same Supergirl suit you see in this poster right here. And then she gets off out of her spaceship, looks around on Earth, does her laser eyes on a flower. So apparently, laser eyes can also open up a flower, right? And then you see her flying for 10 or 15 minutes around the Earth with horses and different things like that. The scenery is great. Then she lands on solid ground at night, and then, oh, there's truckers. And the truckers are trying to take full advantage of her, and she doesn't realize that because she's not from our planet, almost trying to attempt to doing more than just talk, if you get what I'm saying. And then we go to the scene where Selena's having a party. We go to the scene where Selena has the answers to the universe, and then her friend is talking about. Then the scene that we part two, and then the scene that we see her next in, like I said, after her friend talks about a witch cult thing, she she throws a party, and then her male suitor friend shows back up, has a conversation with him, and that's where I left off. But so far, the Supergirl movie from back then can't be as bad as the new one. This one is right now horribly bad from the very beginning. Laser eyes to laser eyes for flowers. So her laser eyes can work on two different things: opening up blooming up a flower that wasn't bloomed yet, and also hurting two guys that are about to take full advantage of her, not knowing that because she's not from our Earth and from our planet. And then she beats up those guys. She beats up those guys. And then she's like, "Oh, you." Then they're saying. Then they say, "Are you friends with Superman?" No, I'm her. I'm his cousin. Not knowing that these guys don't even know that. Those guys, those truckers, don't even know that. Oh, Superman's her cousin. Doesn't need to be mentioned in that at all in the dialogue, because they didn't know that. They saw the S and they assumed that they're Superman's friends. And then when a human being gets an orb from a different planet, Selena or whatever, honestly, do you really think that you're going to take over the world with something that you don't even know how it can take control of? That's a very weird thing. I know it's comic book related stuff, but this, so far, is not the greatest movie that they made. I know they made this back in the day, but it's not the greatest movie they made. And then you have this new Supergirl that has good, has positive, and some good things to say, and some people bad things to say, and people want to blame James Gunn. Don't blame James Gunn. He's the only producer on it. He didn't direct it, and don't blame the actress. Just blame that no one understands the source material of the original. Don't blame don't blame anyone but people that don't know the source material of the original story that they're taking it from. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. That's what they had inspiration, and they took only a little bit of liberties to put some stuff in there, like they do with Marvel. Marvel put some stuff from the comics in there, from for you guys to recognize, and then they you go from there.
Okay, this is AC Stellar, aka Awesome. Welcome back to my channel, and this is my review for the old Supergirl, not the new one with Millie Alcox, which is apparently everyone's saying it's horrible and pacing's bad, whatever. No, no. The source material, hold on. The source material from that is from Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. It's fantastic. The colors in the comic book are fantastic. I'll talk about that in some other video. But this version of Supergirl starts off, yeah, kind of a young teenage girl that's, Clark's cousin learning from the professor, which is also not smart for doing this little wand thing, and has this orb that she has in her hand right there. What you see right there, that orb. and then then it falls out and gives it to Korra, and then Korra puts it in, plays with it, and then puts it out in space. Not very smart, right? And then she gets on Earth. She eventually goes in a spaceship, goes on Earth, and tries to find this orb. This orb lands before her, and it lands in the hand of Selena and her lackey, boyfriend, teacher, and she's like, "Oh, I got this orb. I have all the knowledge in the world, right?" And then it gets better. And then she throws a party, and then you see Supergirl land on Earth, and she calls herself Linda Lee. She can't keep herself her own name is Cora, like how they're going to do it in the new Supergirl movie. No, her name is Linda Lee. Why? When even the TV show for CW, The My Adventures of Superman, animated other animated Superman movie, I mean animated Superman show, and even yeah, CW probably also found out recently the um Smallville, even probably Flash, Supergirl, all of them were named Cora, and they all kept that name. No, she has to do just like what Clark Kent did and disguise herself. She has brunette hair when she's not Supergirl. When she's not Supergirl, she has brunette hair. Why? I didn't know Supergirl had that power to change her hair color. Oh, and then also when she lands, she from her heat blast, she like, put laser eyes on a flower, dog. A flower. Why? Didn't know that could exist. I didn't know she can make flowers bloom. I didn't know Superman or Supergirl can make flowers bloom with their laser eyes. I mean, that could be convenient one day. Oh, look, honey, look, Lois, I got you some flowers, but they're not bloomed yet. But let me bloom them up. Okay, let me shoot lasers on really? And then Selena has an orb, learns all this stuff, and then she puts a spell on, tries to put the spell on this guy, this guy ends up walking around, the city, and she ends up flying where, you know, Lois Lane's sister is at for a for like a 3-day vacation. And yeah, she also meets Lois Lane's sister. And the principal's name actually, his last name is Davenport, which is actually the name she goes by in the CW, Cora Davenport. Ironic, right? But then also, oh, Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Olsen was never mentioned in the Christopher Reeve's version. And by the way, this is the intro back into my superhero, back into my intro back into my Superman marathon, my Superman movie marathon. By the way, the intro back to my Superman movie marathon. Sorry, it's been a long time since I've done it. But anyways, then you get Jimmy Olsen that's never been mentioned at all, and Christopher Lee's version. And this is supposed to be Christopher Reeves, right? Oh my God. Um, and then Selena puts a spell, like I said, puts a spell on it, puts a spider in a nutshell and on a lot, like a guy that's very handsome that does um yard work and some of that, and then he stumbles around, and then he ends up falling in love with Linda Lee because that's the first person he sees, and that's what the spell is. And Selena wants that to happen. And then Selena makes life worse for Supergirl, puts her in the Phantom Zone eventually later on in this film, and then she grants herself a big mansion and all that stuff on a cliff, and then uses that old boyfriend she had as a still as lackey again, captures Supergirl's friends, uh, Lois Lane's sister and Jimmy Olsen, and then like what else? Puts her in the Phantom Zone randomly. Selena knows how to put her in the Phantom Zone. Then her professor's in there, and then he ends up dying in the Phantom Zone. Then Selena and Supergirl have a battle with a shadow creature. Oh yeah, I forgot. She almost got raped too.
and then she beats up those guys, but she's not from this planet. She kind of, thinks that they're being friendly, but no, they're trying to take fully advantage of her and rape her. What else? All the other stuff I just mentioned, the Phantom Zone and stuff, put her in the Phantom Zone, and Selena's trying to be like Lex Luthor. Um, and then she faces the wind from a shadow creature, and then she gets a light pole and goes up to the sky and gets it all electrocuted, and then she can defeat an invisible creature, shadow creature, and then she runs into her drunk like teacher that runs the whole dorms, and she doesn't even recognize that she's Supergirl. She just recognizes that she's still Linda Lee. And then, oh my goodness, they're the same person because even though she's what you doing out in your school uniform, and then she puts her school uniform back on the next scene after that. But the drunk teacher couldn't realize that that's the same person, but in a costume. And the a simple fact that she has to change what she has to look like. I get it. Clark wears glasses, but Clark wears glasses to change his what his personality looks like. It doesn't change his whole hair and everything like that. It doesn't need to do all that. And then she wants to be a school student for some weird reason when her mission is to find the orb, and then she finally finds the orb, but like she takes her time finding it. She comes out of the ocean because it crash lands in the ocean. There's a lot of things that are wrong with this movie, and it's Supergirl. And the last part of it, she didn't do Supergirl stuff. Like she overpowered the shadow creature for sure, but she got squeezed, and then no Krypton, no kryptonite, not kryptonite, but like you get my point. She landed on these things that tiles that Selena broke apart, and then like Selena had so much of wind on her, and she couldn't stand up, and she eventually can. And then Selena's like, "How do you kill someone in the Phantom Zone? Like, do you really need to kill someone in the Phantom Zone? Like, how do you put her in the Phantom Zone in the first place, dog? There's no way you could have learned. There's no way that Selena could ever learn how to put someone in the put someone in the Phantom Zone. Like you just don't do that. Like the only people who can do that is Superman and Supergirl, hopefully. And the talks of people talking about the Millie Cox version is, oh, the pacing's bad and this and this and that and blah blah blah, all this negative stuff. And then I found out there's some negatives and some positives. You go on YouTube, there are people like reviewers that are more famous than I am are talking negatively about it because it's not what they uh, thought that it was going to be, especially John Campea. Says it's not as bad as Morbius or not as bad as Morbius um or what's it called? Morbius or Craven or Madam Web. And I get that. It might not be his cup of tea, it might not be anyone else's cup of tea, but definitely it will be probably my cup of tea for sure. But other people, I even saw some people in the comic book store said that the first half is not good for young female role models, but the rest of it was great. That's on point because the Alcon's version of it in the comics, she's goes to bars because she lost her home planet. The other people saying, other reviewers, oh, they put the her losing her home planet in the middle of the movie. Well, that's what happens in the comics. Um, Other things, well, that's what happens in the comics. Um, But people on X gave it a positive review. Some people on Instagram gave it a positive review. So like it has its bad reviews and its good reviews. So it and then also lost some money, but that's okay.
People are worried, oh, this is cool. Supergirl's bad. Does that mean the DCU is gone? No, that doesn't really mean nothing either. But what you guys should be checking out, what you guys should be checking out before you go see a Millie Alcock's version, and I highly recommend you do this. Watch this review or watch other reviews of this version of Supergirl on YouTube and online here, and then make your decision if you are interested in seeing the Millie Alcock version, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow version. Watch this movie first, or watch a review like this first, or just do two things. Watch a review on this from either me or some other YouTubers that have done this type of Supergirl movie review, and then watch this movie, then watch this version of the movie, and then go see Millie Alcock's version. If you already seen Millie Alcock's version, I highly recommend you see this version like right now after you watch this video, and then determine that the stuff that you see of the stuff that you see in Millie Alcock's version, which is Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, and determine if that all that stuff you saw in there was that bad versus this one where she faced shadow creature that she can't defeat and she's getting split in half and she can't use her powers. Um, she loses the orb. She gets stuck in the Phantom Zone. Selena wants to kill her in the Phantom Zone. She fights the shadow creature again with a light pole. She gets almost taken advantage of and gets raped by these two truckers. I'm like, oh, she's not from here, guys. I mean, she's not from here, bro. That means I can fully take advantage of her. She's not from this planet, so what's taking full advantage of her? Ha 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 ha. Like stuff like that. Fall in love with it, and then having the guy fall in love with her, the first person he sees from a spell. I mean, that Selena did for that guy that wanted Selena wanted that guy to fall in love with him, blah blah. But then he ends up doing it anyways towards the end, becomes one of her lackeys. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here that's wrong. The only thing they got right was okay, Supergirl has powers. She uses her ice breath towards the end to save her friends. Uses her laser eyes twice. She flies around. Like the first few minutes is like 20, 15 minutes of her flying. She flies around. Um, she gains some friends. She has a skies. I mean, decently skies of changing her hair, but she really had to do that. She could just put on street clothes. But anyways, regardless, oh yeah, a teacher don't recognizing her with her costume on. Oh my goodness, like she's drunk and it seems like she's the same person. Like there's a lot of things wrong with this, but the only thing they got right was her flying around, her saving the day, her trying to get the orb back, and her superpowers. That's about it. Everything else was I don't know what I just watched. And their attempt of having a Supergirl that says here her first great adventure, which should be this version should be its last greatest adventure because really, technically, this one is her last greatest adventure. I'm gonna say I'm sorry about that, but that's all I gotta say about this. It's just kind of a pointless movie from back in the day, and like Christopher Reeve, after probably doing several Christopher Reeves movies, they go, let's do a Supergirl movie. No. This one should have been erased. I don't get the Millie Alcock's version of hatred. I really don't. Yes, for some people, it might not be the best version of Supergirl, and it might not be their cup of tea, but this is no one's cup of tea either. But I rather drink the new version's tea than this version of tea because this version of tea had a bad taste in my mouth. That's all I'm gonna say. So if you like this video, put a like, comment, subscribe, and notification bell, and deuces. This is AC Starlord, aka Awesome. Welcome back to my channel, and this is going to be part of the Supergirl review. America 250. The reason why this was so late on seeing Supergirl is because I had to wait till this point in time to see it with my best friend when our schedules were open, and we saw it today on 4th of July, spending 4th of July together, having great memory, spending 4th of July together, watching Supergirl. And this is why this vlog's delayed. Also, the review is also delayed and posted, but that doesn't matter. June just happened. It came out the week after this one. So it's Supergirl's still kind of freshly new. So yeah, that's the reason why I'm saying that. Happy 4th of July. There's also gonna be probably a Hamilton video in here as well. The Supergirl video, because I already did one in here for it being on Blu-ray, and also now seeing it on Blu-ray. And I'll talk about that also pretty soon here too. So happy 4th of July, and Supergirl was fantastic. That's all I'm gonna say for now. Happy 4th of July, everyone. The 25th celebration of our birthday. I'm watching Hamilton as I usually do every year in Captain America. But imagine if Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, John Adams, and everyone else in this movie historically, Eliza myself was living today and celebrating the 25th. I mean the 20, the 20. I mean celebrating the 250 years of our of our um of our nation that they built, the nation that they got to build, the nation they got to build, the nation they got to build, and everything they fought for. The founding fathers fought for us, and this is the greatest, one of the greatest holidays that could ever have, because even not just Hamilton and George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and Aaron Burr, it's also soldiers of today, Marines, Army, Navy, Coast Guard, the Coast Guard, which Hamilton actually made. They fought for us. The Army, Air Force, Top Gun, they all fought for us to have these freedoms that we have today. So, happy 250 years of this life that 250 years of this life we're living, and for this country that we're in right now. Happy birthday to us. And I'm not going to throw away my shot. Also, history has your eyes on you, and who's going to tell your story? Who's going to tell your story? That's the thing. I know that my grandfather, my mom's side, is a Marine. She told his story, and her sisters and my aunt, her sisters, which was my aunt, has told his story. So who's going to tell your story when it's all gone? When you're all dead and gone. But we all got to rise up, because you know why? This is our birthday of America's freedom that we have today. And also, it's a wonderful holiday. Hanging out with friends, family, eating barbecue, having the freedom to eat barbecue like ribs and sausage and corn and baked potatoes and whatever and pop fire. This is AC Starlord, aka Austin. Welcome back to my channel, and I just finally seen Supergirl, and this is my Supergirl shirt, and this is the background to Supergirl. I loved Supergirl. I don't know what these haters are talking about on I don't know what these haters are talking about online and stuff like that. Like from John Campia and um others, other reviewers on YouTube, on X. They were talking positively about this. I saw this with my best friend and she loved it. I loved it. We had a fun time watching this. It did do the very it did a very good job of the source material that it had going for it, and a little mix of everything else. This follow this followed Woman of Tomorrow to a to a to the T and to a yeah to the key to a T. It literally did everything. Lobo and Superman was just added to it. Now, Superman was needed in this, but Lobo wasn't. But they fit Lobo in, and they fit Lobo in the storyline so such in a way that he fits in the storyline of Woman of Tomorrow, and the way they fit Superman in there just to have Superman Corn Sweat in there because he was a narrative to the kind of the structure of how they're twisting a little bit of I mean, twisting a little bit of the Woman of Tomorrow aspect of it. It fit in as well, but the rest of it with Ruthie and the main bad guy, which really doesn't look like that ugly. He looks very gorgeous in the comic. He might have a little bit of a ugly looking face in the comic, but he's more has more hair and more beard and looks more gorgeous looking than what we see with piercings and stuff on his face. And the way they shot Supergirl in the chest with the kryptonite arrow, exactly from the comics. How she goes in dive bars are exactly in comics. How she does the bus scene, exactly from the comics. Everything in there is exactly from the comics, straightforward. And this guy who directed it was the same guy who did I, Tonya and Stupid Money or no, no, not Stupid Money, Dumb Money. And he did a very good job. And the soundtrack's great. I'm going to download the soundtrack pretty soon here. This movie was fantastic. I don't know what people were hating on it. This is a movie I might go see twice. Like I was waiting to see this movie, and I saw it today on 4th of July, celebrating our freedom. First of all, also watching Hamilton before this, but celebrating our freedom, 4th of July, 250 years, and I celebrated with my best friend, first time ever having a memorable 4th of July that I don't have to like think of like the last one I had was with an ex-girlfriend and her neighborhood had cool fireworks. I don't need to see fireworks. I don't need to see any of that. I just need to be with my best friend and see a movie and go get some sushi and hang out and talk. And we haven't talked and we haven't texted. We haven't done any of that because we work so hard and we work a hard working schedule. And it's nice to see her. But it was nice to see her watch a movie about a girl that lost everything and redeemed herself. Literally in the beginning, this movie had a middle and end and beginning, and it followed exactly like the comic book. Like it was never driven off from a different source material or whatever. Like Superman with the corn sweat. I mean, it's simple. Superman, we get it. But that, I mean, it had All Star Superman, but I haven't read All Star Superman, but like I need to probably. But All Star Superman was probably different from what they did in this movie. This one followed Woman of Tomorrow literally to the T. It went from she's not a very good role model to helping out Ruthie trying to bring hope into her life, and then her finding that hope again, and her finding her self-worth and her self-empowerment that she can be the hero that she can be. This movie is just fantastic, and yeah, stuff with Ruthie. There's a lot of Ruthie in it, but like Ruthie is prevalent a lot in the comic as well, and how her story was. with the main bad guy and the sword and everything like that. And it felt like Guardians of the Galaxy to me. And there's nothing wrong with that. Guardians of the Galaxy is a fantastic movie series as well. It felt Guardians of the Galaxy like and kind of like a space western at the same time. Um, I liked it. Um, Lobo, I mean, Jason Momoa's Lobo was fantastic. I wish there was a lot more Lobo in it. I mean, added to the whole he added to the whole story and mixed in. And I wish Lobo was in the graphic novel in the comic, but he's not. And even when I showed my best friend a comic I got when I saw Jackass to give it to her, she looked through the little mini comic they had on AMC, and she's like, "Yeah, this the comic does a little something a little different than the movie, but it's still the same type of source material that they're doing." Um, It's just different, and I liked what they did with the differences, and that's all I gotta say about this. It's a fantastic film. Krypton in the middle of the movie was okay with me because the reason why, because in the comic they do that. In the comic, it goes from Ruthie's flashback, which they do show in the movie, and Cora's flashback in the middle of a graphic novel. So like it doesn't matter. And Cora in here was exactly what I wanted her to be, and not a girl that changes her hair and goes to a boarding school like they did in the original one, or looking for an orb. She was exactly what she needed to be. She lost everything, and then she was about to lose her dog, Crypto. And yes, people talked about, oh well, they have Crypto, but I wish they set up more of their bond. They did. The flashback scene when she was on Earth, and then when she first met him as a puppy, and then when she was been with how long she's been with her, how long he's been with her since the corn sweat one and all that stuff. It's there. It's literally there. Like I don't know what they're talking about. It's there, and you can see the bond ship. It literally kind of reminded me of my dog and also my best friend's dog. They have a kinship, and their kinship is amazing. Her dog actually speaks to her. Her dog actually speaks to her. Like it's fantastic, and so does Crypto. Crypto speaks to Cora very well in this movie. So I don't know what these people are hating on, but this movie's fantastic. I might go see it again. I don't know when, but I want to try to find a way to go see this movie again because I liked it. I loved it, and it was fantastic. Guardians of the Galaxy was Supergirl. Guardians of the Galaxy, Superman and Supergirl. Come on, with a little bit of space and a little bit of a western and a space feel to it. Yes, that's more like my speed, dog. And this is what I need to see: Supergirl and Superman like this. Supergirl was fantastic. Don't listen to the haters on any other haters. Word of mouth. Go see this movie for yourself. And if you want to judge this against a really bad Supergirl movie, go watch the original one from 1987 or whatever that was, the 80s one. Go watch that one, then come and then go watch this movie, or just go watch this movie and then watch the old one later. Whatever you want to choose and go, watch it. Watch it. Don't be a hater. Because I know the review I had for Supergirl was I hated on it because it was not Supergirl. Who changes their hairstyle and puts on a school uniform and disguise themselves as a person? Then, oh, you finally meet Lois Lane's sister, and then Jimmy Olsen, then a a, 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 uh, a witch named Selena, and then like, oh, I finally got the orb, and I lost track of the orb because some dude falls in love with me. Come on, this was a better Supergirl than that one, and I love this one better. Millie Alcox is a fantastic Supergirl, and Jason Momoa was a fantastic Lobo. That girl who plays Ruthie is fantastic. I don't know what the haters are talking about, but this is fantastic. I love it. I'm gonna go see this again and probably get it on Blu-ray and watch it so many times. And probably wear the shirt again tomorrow and love it. You know, that's what I love. And I'm gonna say Supergirl's fantastic. If you like this video, put a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and deuces.